Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
Did I get that footwear from her? And it's put where it could have been, should have been, right from the start. My power will grow, it will blossom and flow through the world, through the years, and straight to my heart. And now, you, my monkeys, my darlings, yes, it is time at long last for you to do your work. Off you go and mop up the mess. I want that little girl and her mangy little dog. But most of all, I want my slippers!
Hello, my pretty, and welcome to this week's episode of Musical Talk. I'm Nick Hudson. The voice you heard in this week's opening belonged to the wonderful Hannah Waddingham, who is currently starring as the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz at the world-famous London Palladium. As we promised last week, Andrew Keating and I were lucky enough to have a lovely interview with Hannah herself, so you're going to be treated to that this week. Also last week, we played some songs from a new musical playing at the Landor Theatre called FRED and GLADYS, based on the story about Prince Charles falling in love with Camilla Parker Bowles. Andrew Keating and I went to see that musical, and we discussed it afterwards with the show's composer, Paul Tibbey. So, we'll start with the interview with Hannah Waddingham, and then go straight into the interview with Paul.
Musical Talk.
We're here backstage this afternoon in the world-famous London Palladium, as the announcement now goes.
How cool is that?
Absolutely, so you don't mistake it with any other not world-famous London Palladium.
We're hardly backstage, we're in the newly renovated...
Oh, well, the newly renovated.
It's
looking very gorgeous, isn't it?
Beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're here with the very lovely Hannah Waddingham.
Hi!
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, very good. Very good. Loving being here. I love the Palladium.
Who doesn't?
Well,
It's
yes.
magical.
Especially since it's kind of hit 100 and it's had this redecoration.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, Andrew's gone for it. Look at it, it's beautiful.
I mean, just as we look round, I mean, it's kind of framed, lots of beautiful frame posters are just everywhere.
Which I'd quite like to steal. Obviously I won't, listeners.
No, try not.
I've blown my cover if I do now, haven't I?
Have you recorded the thing on the BBC lately about the variety and the history of the variety? Because this is the world variety theatre.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
a fascinating documentary.
Yeah, it's glorious.
You watch that as
You
well.
mean you get time off?
Do you know what? The brilliant thing, because we have 3 matinees, we do Wednesday matinee, Saturday and Sunday, we get Sunday night and Monday night off.
It's lovely.
Hooray!
What
Which
more
I
could you
need
ask for?
because it's knackering.
This is the thing, it's a very, very energetic performance.
I mean, it's my own fault. I've made a rod for my own back because I just think that's how she should be. She should be absolutely maniacal.
Well, you fly in from every entrance available in the theatre.
Yes. That was me saying to them in rehearsals, because the one I do from the Dome was meant to be a voiceover. And I just kept, literally from week 1, tugging on their T-shirts saying, can I, no, Hannah, you can't. Next week, can I, no, you can't, it's too expensive and too dangerous.
But Richard O'Brien did it in the opposite.
Well, exactly, that was my... But they said, no, we can't have you doing that because we then need you back on stage. And then it was made obvious that this one bit, you know, the Surrender Dorothy bit, was meant to be a voiceover. And I thought, now you can't say that I need to be back on stage because that's the end of Act 1. So...
And it's a great moment when you suddenly come down from the Dome, because you're not expecting it. You're like,
exactly.
Oh, there she is.
But I actually also did it. One, I want to be able to say to my grandchildren, oh, I've flown in from the Dome, the London Palladium. And so it's complete, utter selfish vanity. But also, I just thought, whoever plays this part in future, you have to have the witch in the audience. So that children think, oh my God, you know, it's completely different from flying behind the Cross Arch. There's a safety for kids with that, or for adults. But once I've been in the auditorium once, who knows where she might come from next.
And also there's another show sort of linked to The Wizard of Oz, which has a very, now, should we say, iconic flying scene for
Which one's that?
the end of Defying Gravity.
Oh, yes, yeah. That's not
the
flying.
sequel.
That's not flying. They're in a cherry picker.
I know, and so this show has gone beyond that,
Yes.
and given the audience a lot more,
Yeah.
I think, as regards your stunts.
Good, I'm glad you think so.
But as you said, you've made it quite a tough act to follow now, you see.
Oh, I don't know about that. I just think it was hilarious when my two understudies were told that suddenly we're going to be flying in from the dome. One of them came up to me and went, "Oh, thanks, Han." And I thought, oh God, I didn't think that through at all, that other people would have to do it.
Can she just fly? We'll walk in.
Yeah. We'll do it from the wings, thanks.
Or walk from the audience.
Yeah.
And are you now going through all theatrical witches and playing them all?
I know,
one by
I'm
one?
trying to not be insulted by...
What can I say? You're going to do all three leads in Witches of
I
Easter
know,
against.
I know.
Alternate
Yeah, I'm going to
nights.
do it like a kind of 39 steps. Just going to play every witch in musical theatre.
Because the last thing we saw you in, of course, was Into the Woods at
Yeah.
Regent's.
Have your arms recovered? Again, a hugely energetic performance.
I know. And they didn't tell me. I was cast back in the January last year. We started rehearsals in June. And they decided to tell me on day one of rehearsals, not giving me time to actually get fit. Tim Sheeder said, "Oh, we'd like to have you on crutches." I laughed, thinking he was joking. And he said, No, we because we need to get rid of your height for that first bit.
The heights, yes.
You know, because I needed to look like this craggy kind of tree woman. And I thought, are you kidding me? So I literally went that afternoon with our co-director and movement director, Liam Steele, and we just looked at how I might be able to move without it looking like Planet of the Apes or something.
It reminded me of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly. But they wanted to get that gnarled, kind of debilitating illness thing, so that once the sticks are gone, I stand up to my full height, and she's this younger version of herself. So I got what they were doing, and believe me, I went through serious back and arm pain. But ever since then, I'm strong as an ox, I tell you.
We're seeing some big muscles on display here for those that can't see. But
And this job as well. I don't know what it is, whether it's carrying my broomstick or going from the basement, because I fly in to the stage level and then have to run up the full height of the building out onto the roof and then back in through the dome. So it's like having a Stairmaster class every night.
we're going to wait for your fitness video.
Crazy, imagine.
See it coming soon.
In my prosthetic nose and chin. You
Marvellous.
too can look green and haggard.
But for those that didn't see you in Into the Woods, I believe a digital release is coming out.
Yes,
which is
on
very
digitaltheatre.com.
exciting.
Yeah. I think it's something like £9-10. Download the whole thing, and we had various multicams over 2 or 3 nights of performance.
And it rained.
Yeah, yes. Actually, do you know what? It didn't for those, thank God, because it was our penultimate show and the night before that. And actually, one of those nights, Stephen Sondheim came early on in the run, but he wasn't meant to come back again, but he loved it so much that he flew back with his partner and came to see it again. So
Were you aware of that fact?
everyone, oh yeah. Yeah, because he'd be around and saying hello and
Change that bit.
yeah. No, he was just lovely. Of course, I'd met him doing a little night music, so it was really lovely to see him again.
I know when we were there, I think we saw Tim Burton in the audience, and with Helen
Oh,
Bonham Carter,
yes.
we were like,
Film.
"Oh, is it film?"
I know.
Film.
I know. And actually, as soon as I came out, I did that first, the greens rap. Came out, looked up, and I thought, I mean, let me tell you, as an actor, you'd think of plenty of things while you're saying your lines. People who say they don't, they're lying. It's a fact. If you're in a long run of something, your brain does think, oh, shall I get 2 sweet potatoes at the supermarket or 4?
greens.
Yeah, exactly. But I looked up, first person I see, I thought, gosh, that looks like Tim Burton. Then I looked up again and thought, oh my God, it is. Oh, and there's Helen Bonham Carter. Oh, and there's their children. And there's Helen Bonham Carter's mother. And I just thought, wow. And then my brain was going, are they doing a film? Who are they going to use?
Told me.
Yeah.
Now in Oz, though, again you get to steal the show with your big number, which is one of the
Thank
new
you.
songs with Andrew Lloyd Webber
The
and
Red
Tim
Shoes
Rice.
Blues.
Absolutely, yes.
Although I wanted it to be called You're Welcome, My Pretty.
Well, I do have to say, Nick has been moaning. Well, it's not blues. You can't call it blues, but it's because it sounds right, Nick. That's why Red Shoes Blues.
No, see,
But they're not blues.
No, I'm jury's out on that for me.
Because I read about it after. Because
she's not sad or depressed or anything. She's saying they're coming here without me even having to try and do anything. They are coming to me. And so that's why she has this party celebration thing of thinking, my God, you just made it so easy for me, you stupid little girl.
Now, do you agree that no one is... There are no goodies or baddies, people just have different wants?
Absolutely, and that's what I tried to get hold of in Into the Woods as well. They call her the witch, but she's not actually a witch. They call her that. She's a wronged woman, in my eyes. And I think with this... She just thinks, well, hold on a minute. I was meant to have those shoes in the first place. They're my birthright, and my sister got them. Now they're not on my sister's feet. It's to add insult to injury. It's not even somebody in my family. It's some little girl that's come along, and they're on her feet. So that's why I try in Munchkinland to, as soon as I come out of the floor, she's straight on the subject. It's not, oh, me miserum, where's my sister gone? It's, right, who killed my sister? Where have those shoes gone? I'm having those shoes now. And that's the want all the way through. She doesn't care who's in her way, that is what I want.
Because our favourite lyric in the whole piece has to be, she's...
Prissy, she's clueless and I want her shoeless. Brilliant. Isn't that brilliant?
Absolutely.
That line, I think I spoke to, when Tim came into the rehearsal, I went up to him and I think I gave him a great big smacker on the cheeks. I just thought, that's so witty, but still respectful to...
It's very Tim Rice.
The piece. Exactly, but it's the marriage of the two worlds. And actually, I think, particularly this song, it does make you wonder why I wasn't in the film. And that's great testament to Tim and Andrew.
It replaces the Jitterbug, doesn't it?
Yes.
Which is a song not many people know.
Yeah,
so
because
really
it was
know.
removed from the original.
Film.
Yeah.
One of the, well, not problems with the film, but it's always odd that you always think the witch is in it more than she actually is.
Oh, she's hardly in it at all.
Yeah, and then when you watch it again, you're thinking, oh.
And actually in the book, she's in it even less. When I read the book, I purposely read, because I know the film inside out from when I was younger, I purposely read the book first before I re-looked at the film. Because I think sometimes you can look at visual things and it slightly hinders you because you start doing an impression, and I didn't want to get into that. So I tried to take, like, I don't know whether you noticed, but I got the costume department, the props department rather, to make me a long silver whistle that I wear as Miss Gulch. So I have the retractable pince-nez, which is from the film. You know, when she looks at the dog and then pings it back.
Yeah.
I have that on my jacket, but I also have the silver whistle, which is actually what the witch has in the book to summon the crows and the bees to attack the companions. And even though I never blow it, I wanted it there as a little thing for me, as a little nod to the book. So if anybody comes to see it that know the book, they can go, look at that.
Oh, we know where she's got that from.
Yeah, just as a little acknowledgement of the book as much as the film.
We did like the fact that all the male characters hang...
the farmhands you can see in their costumes, kind of
Like
clear reflection.
isn't it brilliant?
One has a little tail hanging
Yeah, that
out.
was
That's the
David
best
Ganley
bit.
said, can you make sure that my cardigan has it attached and hanging down? But Jeremy Sams, our director, has been brilliant with things like that. You know, when Hickory comes on, who then plays the Tin Man, lovely Edward Baker
Has
Jr.
oil in his-
He says, oh, I'll fetch my oil can. But when Uncle Henry says, oh, some damn fool's locked the storm cellar, he goes, okay, Mr. Gale, I'll use my axe. And just little things that ignite it. And the lion saying that he's scared, you know, that Zeke saying that he's scared, and then the guy plays the Scarecrow, Paul Keating, as playing Hunk. He comes in and they say, have you locked up the horses? Oh, well, yeah, I tried to. And then, of course, he refers to that as the Scarecrow. So it's brilliant the way all these things that Dorothy hears. And I don't know whether you noticed, but on the set of Kansas, there's a broomstick there, there's a bucket of water, there's faded poppies in her wallpaper. There's a monkey.
Now you say it, yes.
There's a monkey down by her, at the other side of her bedroom. There's the chest of drawers, and it has a monkey doll next to it. A really creepy. You know, when you're little and you think, I don't like that doll, it's looking at me and winking. They've got this creepy monkey doll.
Like the Phantom
there.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So Jeremy Sams has been really clever, just planting seeds. And also, I think what's clever is Professor Marvel's song, The Wonders of the World. There are so many references in that she then takes in to her dream.
It's almost, this brings me on to a non-musical thing, which I mentioned briefly, but you mentioned all those, the planting, it's very Agatha Christie-esque, and I was delighted to see you in...
Yes, The Mirror Cracked. I absolutely loved that.
With my favourite bedtime story reader, Martin Jarvis.
Oh, gorgeous Martin. We had such a laugh. I mean, he's proper old school, you know. And we just got on like a house on fire. In fact, that whole company of people, you know, there was obviously Dame Julia of Mackenzie, Dame Joanna of Lumley, who I was beside myself to meet. And then you have gorgeous people like Neil Stuke, Martin Jarvis, Caroline Quentin, all these people, Victoria Smurfit, who I've become great mates with. And I felt, when I went to the read-through, I thought, I feel like I've jumped into my television.
That's what's great about these shows, is it's just every character,
and
actor.
camp as you like. And when I went for my fitting, they said, so we'd like you to look like a cross between Rita Hayworth and Jessica Rabbit. And I thought, right, no complaint from me there.
You did look stunning.
Wasn't it gorgeous? Oh.
And red hair suits you very well.
Thank you. And filming in Claridge's, no less. Martin Jarvis and myself in a suite in Claridge's.
Not a set thing.
No, Claridge's.
Put that on your CV.
Yeah, I thought, this isn't bad. Martin Jarvis. Lovely.
I was going to say, is your skin going to survive for the rest of the run? Because you've got the prosthetic nose, the big hook nose.
I have to say,
then
in all seriousness,
it
is a nightmare, the green, because we can't use aquacolour like they do on Wicked. Because I've got the prosthetic nose, which I'll be glued on, and the chin. They grab colour more than your own skin does. So I have a silicone-based airbrush, which they do every night. And of course, bear in mind that on a 2-show day, I then have to de-green, and it's down to here, obviously, you've seen it, down to there.
Would you like to say where you're indicating to?
Just above my boobs.
Yes.
But there's you not in a room.
Just to there. I have to de-green to then be Miss Gulch again for a scene that is 1 minute and 15 seconds long, which sends me slightly mental. But I certainly wouldn't have anyone else playing Miss Gulch, because
it's you. And
also, I love playing Miss Gulch just as much as the witch, because she is the germ from which the witch. Do you get it? from where the witch comes from, you know.
I want to talk to you about Tonight's the Night, which I saw you in.
Gosh, that's a while back. What was that? 2003.
And I really enjoyed it.
I love that you sound slightly surprised.
Because I wasn't a fan of Rod Stewart's stuff, and I never really thought, because he didn't write the songs, so
no.
It's odds to call it a Rod Stewart jukebox musical if you have 4,500 songwriters.
I do think the songs were very cleverly used, though. They weren't. You didn't feel that they were shoehorned. I mean, I am careful with what I do, and I'd read the script, and you see where it says insert blah 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 song here. And I just thought, okay, things like Young Turks at the beginning and things like me singing Tonight's the Night, it's because she's making this Faustian pact with the boy. And then you have brilliant people like Tim Howard. The voices in it were out of this world.
I remember the sound. I remember you, obviously, and I remember just how visually incredible it looked.
Yeah,
like
stunning.
Wonderful
I actually think
set.
it got, amazing. I think it got a really raw deal in the press, because there'd already been We Will Rock You, which also wasn't well received, although thankfully I'm so pleased for Brian that they won the audience award at the Olivier's.
It was a very sweet moment, wasn't it?
Oh, and Anita, who's a great, that's how I know Brian so well. Anita's a great friend of mine. Her reaction was just gorgeous, because she knows that they've constantly had people being a bit rude about it for years and years, and it was a real kind of two fingers saying, well, do you know what, there are people that like it, thank you very much. It's still playing to packed houses
in a huge
and
theatre.
and I thought Ben Elton, obviously, on Tonight's the Night, I think people were a bit harsh about it. I mean, we still ran for a year, but Tim Howard and Michael McKell, who's just finished in Emmerdale now, just brilliant people in it, really brilliant people.
Do you think it was the Jukebox Rebellion that it's kind of like, if it's a jukebox musical, it automatically can't be any good?
Yeah.
Whereas I suppose you have to look at a show as a show.
I think people were snotty about it before it had started. look at Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. That's not done too badly, has it? That's a jukebox musical.
Still
And there is a place for it. I think people get really snobby about these things. You're still going to get performers who graft.
They're still telling a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you worked with Ben Elton earlier on The Beautiful Game, didn't you? And how do you feel about Our Kind of Love being Our Kind of Love Never Dies?
I think it bothered my friends more. I got a couple of phone calls saying, they're using your song, dear. And you just think, well, no, but actually, it was originally from what Andrew then called Phantom 2. Kiri Takanawa had sung it in an original form, and then he used, because Phantom 2, now called Love Never Dies, hadn't happened yet, he then used that song for Beautiful Game. So I haven't really got a leg to stand on, to be fair. And it's actually, the structure of it is quite different.
It doesn't start with the same pattern.
No, it doesn't start. It doesn't have the same verse or the. Yeah, it doesn't go into then the middle eight that I had, or the bridge. And I mean, lovely, Sierra Burgess playing it, really lovely, and in a very different style, you know, that kind of high soprano thing.
And quickly talk about Spamalot.
Yes, my beloved Spamalot.
In London and Broadway.
Yes. So funny, they came up to me, the American producers came up to me at the Olivier's in 2007 and said, you know, you don't have to answer now, but, you know, we'd really like you to come do it on Broadway. And I thought, are you joking? Not answer now? I'd bite your arm off to come and do it.
How do the audiences compare?
They are far more vocal, and far more people at stage door afterwards out there. It's a real. They just glamorise it more, and I think it's getting more like that here. But I don't know why they love Monty Python out there, and as much as it did well here, it lasted for a good few years more.
Didn't have the cues that it did.
No, God, it was crazy out
Monty
there.
Python.
Monty Python, yeah.
Again, another hugely energetic part. You just come on and then you just don't stop. It's like
no. Although I only spoke 3 lines in it.
You sung a lot.
Sung a lot.
All
yes.
singing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got to do the Royal Variety Performance, didn't you?
Yes.
And so you got to show off to the whole of the country.
Which
this is what I can do.
Great fun. Great fun.
With your fake hand.
With my fake hand? Oh, my big. God, do you know what? It all kind of morphs into one after a while. I actually had to get.
I didn't have that into the
I know. I was
one.
thinking. Wait a minute. When did I have
Fake hands, fake arms?
When,
fake nose.
When various.
You could build a whole new Hannah Waddingham
various
out of these
appendages.
parts. Yes.
What's the plural of appendagi?
Appendagum.
Appendagum.
And then again with night music, you got to relax a little bit
I know,
more.
night music.
Night
I
music.
have to say, night music was particularly thrilling for me because Trevor Nunn and myself and Alex Hansen, we were a bit of a kind of little mutual fan club of each other, and it really clicked. And we're actually looking for something to do again, maybe next year, the 3 of us, because it just worked. And it's that thing, you know, when you're in a note session or whatever, Trevor would barely have finished his sentence and I'd already be nodding, knowing what he meant. And that doesn't come around very often.
I just say I like one of the reviews that kind of said, well, she's just a bit too glamorous to do it, really.
Desiree,
can you be too glamorous?
Who was the most meant to be this lovely, glamorous Swedish actress, and you just think, right, so you think I look glamorous, and I definitely look Scandinavian.
But doing clowns is like doing Sending the Clowns. It's quite a hard song to do because it's been sung so many times in so many different ways.
To its, you know, I try to take it back to its bare bones, and it comes at a point in the show where it is absolutely appropriate for it to come, and people often take out the section where Frederick says, "Look, I didn't mean for this to happen," and she just realised, she just thinks, "What have you done, you idiot? You've done it again. You've let him crawl under your skin." And so I tried to go through every single line and make sense of it for myself and create another line for what that line meant. And I had always avoided singing that song, but once I got out of it what I thought it should be, I've never known a song do such strange things to me, and Desiree as a part just rippled through my bloodstream very easily and felt very homely to me.
And I like to do it, I don't know if you saw the Forbidden Broadway at the Melier when
Yes.
you were standing on a box.
Oh my God, that was brilliant. People said, "Oh God, don't go and see that," and I thought, "You're joking, that's massively flattering for them to do that." Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
Well, we better let you go and green up.
Aww.
On that note, haven't we?
It's very lovely to meet you, boy.
Thank you very much. You.
Careful what you say.
Recorded live at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre. Watch this Olivier Award-winning musical in high definition.
Stay with me. The world is dark and wild.
Agony is real, although it's different for each. Always 10 steps behind, always 10 feet below, and she's just out of reach.
Into the Woods is available to download now. Digital Theatre. Be there.
Musical Talk, the UK's independent musical theatre podcast.
Well, we've just finished watching Fred and Gladys, and we're here with the writer. Hello,
The
Paul.
co-writer.
Co-writer,
Yes.
yes. And second night?
That's right, yeah.
Not in the tower so far?
No. Well, we haven't had any official response yet from the higher echelons of
the palace.
society. No, nothing's come
They've
back
not
to us
come.
there.
No servants in yet.
We're
Nothing.
we're hoping that with the general feel of it is not too offensive, but I don't think they'll be coming along in person.
Well, this is the thing, because Andrew's mentioned Princess Diana the musical, which is done. How would you describe that, Andrew?
From what I've heard, I think they play it straight, and I've never quite figured out whether
It's ironically
playing it straight or whether it's just a kind of an actual heartfelt tribute.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where the circle of irony goes round and almost meets seriousness the other side with that one. I'm not sure. Is that the same one as Princess Diana, A Smile to Warm a Million Hearts, or something like that? There was
I
something
don't know.
like
It's
that.
got a song in it where they sing of Charles. He's a man. He's such a man.
Oh.
What's interesting about the score for this show is it's 90% jazz, isn't it?
Yes, there's jazz, bits of jazz and swing, and then bits of English music all thrown in, and sort of concert party music. I suppose it's the sort of more English side of it. It's quite good at representing the stage traditions of the royal family, and then as Charles develops his affection for Camilla, he finds his inner Frank Sinatra, as it were. So you can kind of bring out a bit more of the dotted rhythms.
Plus some great one-liners and a couple of groan-worthy British puns.
Yes, well, I'd never turn away a good pun if there's one there. Why not?
So obviously your timing is great with the royal wedding just coming up,
Yes.
but presumably it's been in gestation for a long period.
It has,
so
yes.
What started things off for you?
Well, it's just really thinking what a fantastic love story this is. I think it will be remembered as one of the great love stories.
Great
So
soap operas it talks about in the show.
Yes, but we thought we'd get in there first. I think it will be remembered in years to come as the man who had the beautiful young bride, but really was in love all the time with what, by the time
The
he was married,
stepsister.
an ordinary middle-aged woman. I mean, she's thought of as the ugly old witch, but she's not. She's just an ordinary person. They're an ordinary middle-aged couple who, in normal circumstances, would have been together and nobody would have minded. And the irony is, of course, now they are together, and we've all sort of got used to the idea.
And it sets out a very kind of maybe an old-fashioned idea of marriage where things were perhaps a little bit more open, and it's kind of like, well, yes, this is how we're doing things in our circles, thank you.
Yes, well, I think there was a lot of acceptance behind the scenes of adultery, but as long as it wasn't, out in the open. I think we're much more
horses.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're a much more open society now. But the irony is, we went through this awful kind of convulsion of scandal before we had to come out the other side where we are now.
And one thing I liked about this show is it didn't make a big deal of Diana's death. It was, Diana was sort of shoved to the side throughout most of it, which was made a nice change.
We wanted to concentrate on the story of Charles and Camilla. We didn't want to leave Diana out of it because she's very much a part of it, but it was very much focusing on their story and how they interplayed together. And of course we couldn't resist having Diana and Camilla having a scene and a number together.
The dynasty moment.
Yes.
It just needed, like, you know, people falling down the stairs or a couple of plates to be smashed.
It was, as I say, it was irresistible really, but I think they found a certain way through their relationship there at the end.
Now you're running at the Landor for how long?
Until the 16th.
Until the 16th, okay. And then any plans after that? Will you be Edinburgh or?
No plans at the moment, but we've got a couple of producers coming along to it, and hopefully something will.
Palace Gardens.
I have to say, and your Queen was an uncanny dead ringer for Helen Mirren. That's all I could see. It was really quite like, oh my goodness.
But they're all phenomenal, and the minute they walk on, you know, right, that's Charles, that's...
Yes, there's no point pretending. They all walk on as members of the crowd at the royal wedding, but there's really no point in us disguising who they are, and you know, it's a little moment for everyone to look and say, oh, I see, that's him, that's her. And
would you like the production to grow? I mean, are you still making changes to the score tonight? Will it be different tomorrow? Do you want to have a bigger production?
Only unintentional changes to the score, but here and there. But it's. I mean, we think we've got it in a good state at the moment. But if it went on anywhere else, then you know, obviously there's time for revising.
Musical's never written, only rewritten.
Sorry?
A musical is never written, only rewritten.
No, exactly, yeah. So yes, there's always room for changes and improvements. But
you'll be doing the sequel, the William and Kate saga.
We have to see how it turns out first. I would say, surely.
I think I've said all I want to say about royal affairs for the time being.
What about Fergie? Come on. You're Camilla again, see, a bit of a dead ringer for the Duchess of York there. She could double up, couldn't she?
Yes, I suppose, you know, we could use the same cast and, it's...
a couple of years on.
Yes.
A couple of years on.
It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? No.
Do you not think Fergie exclamation mark? There's something there. It's got toe sucking, it's got helicopters, it's got, you know...
Yes.
I think sailors.
Well, it's I think probably Cameron McIntosh has probably got something in development even now.
Fergie Blue Eyes.
Yes.
Well, are you influenced by Lionel Bart at all as a writer?
Yes, certainly. I mean, I think he's probably the greatest English writer of musicals. Saying that and thinking, who am I ignoring there? But I mean, I've certainly influenced. I think any modern writer would be influenced by Lionel Bart. Certainly in his appropriation of English musical. I mean, I loved his way he wrote songs that you thought, oh, that could have come from 1890.
Because I could certainly hear him in the title. I hope you don't mind. I could hear him in the title song "Fred and Gladys."
Oh, right, yes.
Cockney knees up and all that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was often when you're doing that, you know, you're writing pastiche and you're trying to write another song, really, but different. So we were trying to write, you know, something like "Show Me the Way to Go Home."
And you got some nice bits of Deb slang in there, didn't you? So the not safe in taxis and.
Oh yes. Well, you know, we did our research.
Pleased with your cast though. Your Charles again. See, look,
Charles
he looks like
amazing.
he could be a Windsor reject, couldn't he? Very much, you think?
Well, yes. He's slightly not quite horsey enough for the Windsors, but
he's fake ears.
Yes, he's a bit lacking in the ear department. No, but a stunning performance, I think.
Absolutely.
And he's certainly got that look. He's certainly got that. Well, I think they call it the Guelph look, don't they? So.
And the great little thing with the fiddling with the cuffs.
That was a nice little thing he's picked up, and I think he's getting the thing with the ear as well. So a few little touches. Not an impersonation, but.
He doesn't sing like him, which is interesting.
I've never heard Charles himself sing, but who knows?
It would be like that.
Yes. Is there a secret album you've got here, Nick?
Charles' Greatest Hits.
Charles sings. But again, it's just, you realise that, or rather you don't realise how easy it is to kind of identify the royals with just simple things like a hairdo. Like Diana, it's the flick of the hair and you go like, right, that's Diana, or the blue,
or the pose,
or something like that.
It's the look, isn't it, with Diana? Yes, it's those simple touches. That's that's why I think you can successfully do something like that.
Boring though. Diana compared to Camilla.
Yes, well, yes. I mean, the interesting thing with that is the whole interview with Bashir is just verbatim transcript, and it gets probably annoyingly more laughs than anything else in the show. And it's actually word for word.
And so I'm guessing no knighthood for you now. That's it. I think that bridge is burned.
Yeah, it was a toss-up between the Evening Standard Award for Best Musical and a knighthood, and I plumped for the
I'll have the award.
This is Alan Menken, and you are listening to Musical Talk.
Paul Tibbey there, the composer and pianist of Fred and Gladys, playing at the Landor Theatre. For more information about everything we talked about in this episode, please go to www.musicaltalk.co.uk. You can visit our Twitter page at twitter.com/musicaltalk. Please do follow us there. We post lots of fun, interesting, up-to-the-minute reviews of things we see, and Andrew posts as well, and it's very fun. Or facebook.com/musicaltalk, of course, for that. Please do like us or fan us or follow us or whatever it is you kids are doing nowadays with your interwebs and stuff like that. Thank you very much for listening to this lovely episode of Musical Talk. We'll see you next week. Bye! This episode of Musical Talk was presented and edited by Nick Hudson and Andrew Keating. Copyright 2011.